Good evening, folks, and welcome back to the Celtic Unrestricted View. It's myself, JP, and I'm joined this evening by a house of hosts. It's myself, JP, as I said. Joining me this evening, young Ryan, Big Alan, and a very good man, Barry Bannan. Not seen you for a while, mate. How's tricks?
Good, mate, good. After a busy Christmas period and that, I'm back on and looking forward to it. But I've missed you. It's been a while, like you said, but been a bit hectic. The wedding was no well in that early December as well. So I'm glad to be back, mate, and looking forward to getting back into it.
Sorry to hear about your wedding, Buzz, and I'm glad the wedding's on the mend.
Yep.
Obviously, hope you had a nice Christmas and New Year, mate. Mine's definitely went by far too quickly, and during all that, I had to put up with these two. So, all in all, it was not bad for me, Buzz. Aye, but it's good to see you, mate. It's good to have you back on. And why we're all here, folks, is a live Q&A with the Celtic Unrestricted View, just as the banner said a moment ago. We've got a topic, guys, that we're going to just kick off with straight away. We got a question early doors when we put it on the socials for this. And Baz, this just came from our very good friend, Big Barry McCandless. You'll probably remember Barry for the podcast
Aye.
when he used to be on with us. He wanted me to bounce this to you first. And then obviously we'll have a wee quick discussion about it, lads, and then we'll move on to the next couple of questions. But the first question is, should Brendan Rodgers be given more respect? And the questions come from Barry McCandless. Now, what he means here, Baz, also, because he alluded to me in a small voice chat to that. Obviously, Brendan's coming back now as a second time. It's probably with a view. He's probably not been wanted by quite a number of fans, probably a large sum of the fans, actually, due to what happened the last time. But Barry wants to know, do you think he deserves more respect because he's came back in, we're top of the league halfway through the season, we've won the two derbies. Baz reckons it's monumental for us that we have now stopped that 10-year wait for a winning Champions League as well. So he's ended that as well. So he's got that on his record. And he probably more or less was going to have to do everything perfectly this time around to get everybody's approval. But just the last couple of weeks, Baz and myself also feels that apart from that wee 4-game run we had there, mate, there was a lot of people on top of him and very quickly trying to diminish him as a manager and thinking about, a lot of negative things about him again. So, yeah. So, should he be given more respect? And what's your feelings on that, mate?
I think the biggest point that I could pick up on that is I don't think people were doubting him coming back in his managerial ability. I think it's the way he left that people were no wanting him back. It wasn't doing his credentials as a manager, because his credentials as a manager is there for everybody to see. The job he done at Celtic the first time round was impeccable. He won everything that he needed to win. So I think the reasoning for him leaving and the reason for him coming back, that's what got in the way. That's why the negativity came. I don't think it was anything to do with Brendan Rodgers as a manager. And I think respect-wise is earned. And I think when you leave and come back, it's always harder. The second time to do as good as you've done the first time. A lot of people say you should never go back again. But recently, as you said, that 4-game period has been massive for him, because I think before that, the fans, and I think probably rightly so, weren't happy with what they were seeing. There was a spell probably 2 or 3 weeks ago where you're thinking if they won the Old Firm game, they could probably go above us, which never happened. So I think the last 3 or 4 games have helped Brendan a lot this time around, because you can only be judged on the here and now. You can't judge Brendan going after what he done before. It's the here and now, what these fans are here for. And to be honest, I think Celtic this season, they haven't been great, but like I say, that you've just touched on, they've won both Old Firm games, which is the games that every fan wants to win. They're 8 points clear at the top. And as Barry said as well, he stopped that rot in Europe by winning the last Champions League game at home against Feyenoord, which is massive for the club going forward. Because the longer that goes, the more you keep thinking about it. When you get into these games, it's the back of your mind. I need to try and win. We keep losing in the Champions League, so to get that out and done with is brilliant. But I don't think, well, people who know football, I don't think they disrespect Brendan Rodgers. He's an elite manager, and in the big moments which you want your manager to turn up, he's done it for Celtic every time he's been asked. Whether it's European nights, Feyenoord at home the other night, or it's Old Firm games, which your team's judged on and the manager is judged on in Scottish football as the Old Firm games, and he's got a near perfect record in the Old Firms, maybe lost a few when the league's been wrapped up and we've played a second team when it doesn't really matter. But when we've needed to go into these Old Firm games and nitty-gritty and win them, he's probably tactically outclassed the other manager, whoever it's been, as managing goes, and the players have turned up as well to help him. So I think the respect's there for Brendan, and rightly so, because of what he's done. But you can see why fans were asking questions, because me being one of the fans, I was starting to, no doubt, Celtic, but I thought they should be doing better than they were in the last few weeks to put that to bed, and I'm just hoping they can kick on now and start pulling away.
Alan, what's your thoughts on that? Obviously, what Baz was saying there, and then obviously yourself in terms of, do you reckon that Brendan probably deserves a bit more respect as well from what he was getting previously?
No, I've read Barry says are spot on. Obviously, Brendan left in a kind of sour note. We don't want to bring that up. Once he come back, the Celtic fans, he's the guy in charge. We need to go on that fact. He merits the respect, especially the kind of achievements he's had since the spells between he was here and he's come back. He done a phenomenal job with Leicester. FA Cup, 2 fifth place finishes into the semi-finals of the Conference League. He's done a phenomenal job as a manager, so you've got, he merits that kind of respect because of how top level he is. I agree with Barry as well. Since he come back, there's been few and far between that we've seen Celtic at the kind of top level that we expect. But it's starting to turn round now. But there's not one second there that I doubted or disrespected Brendan. I thought that he was always a kind of top level manager and he would always turn that around. I think he's always got the respect to the players. It was a job getting the respect to the fans because of how sour it was when he left before. But I think that'll change. I think we'll start to push on now, and I can see the league and the Scottish Cup being in our trophy cabinet. And at the end of the day, see if you're going to turn on Brendan Rodgers, who else is going to come in that's going to be better calibre than Brendan Rodgers? There's nobody that we could attract that's going to be to that kind of calibre. The guys. Guys, top notch.
That's agreeable. I think, listen, we can all wholeheartedly agree just now. When the summer candidate list came up, when we knew Ange was moving on, lads, Brendan Rodgers was the go-to man in that list, I think, for us all to agree to right now to say. Ryan, would you go with that? Obviously, that sentiment of the lads there in terms of what they've said about Brendan?
I think the fact about respect, you just respect him anyway because he's your manager. It's the same if it's Ronnie Dyler, Gordon Stratton, Tony Mowbray, whoever the manager is, you've got to give him time and respect him anyway. I think the majority of Celtic fans, they weren't complaining about the manager. It was more about the signings and how the form was. It wasn't really directed to the manager. But we all were saying, we've all been in group chats, we've all been out night suit since then, been with family and stuff. You've all spoken about it. These 4 games were massive, and we had to just about come out kind of with either 12 points or at least still at the top of the table, and that's where we are. And the performances, I think, are starting to get a bit better. Is that because we're out of Europe and there's a bit more recovery time, you can be more in the training park, or guys are just getting more game time and getting used to playing? I've kind of said for the onset that Bernardo didn't really know what position he was, but I knew he was tidy, didn't really do anything flashy, but he kept the ball well. I thought against Lazio, he was one of the better players away from home, and now he's starting to maybe show the kind of high regardness Benfica have got for him. But the only thing is, they've given to us with maybe a potential option to buy, so they really have him high regard. Who knows? But the fact he's come through that academy, which is a fantastic academy, it's a fantastic place to grow up and learn your football. So I think that was probably a bugbear. It was the form of the team and the signings that have not really made a massive impact. I don't think it was on the manager himself. We were all saying that, by the way, if we don't win these, then potentially there will be a bit of a mark on his name this season. Will he last the season if we're not top of the league by Christmas? Because let's be fair, if you're going 8 to 11 points ahead and going to maybe -2, that's no good, because them across the water get slotted for that by Van Bronckhorst. So you can give it out sometimes, but sometimes you need to take it in as well. But overall, for me, the guy deserves all the respect in the world, because he is your manager, and like Alan says, you can't doubt his managerial qualities. Like Baz says, we've said it on here, he's an elite manager. People can decide for themselves what they call elite, but for me, elite's a winner, and everywhere he's went, he's won. He took I don't want to say a bang average Leicester team, that's maybe disrespectful, but he's took a Leicester team that wasn't expected to potentially go and challenge for the top 4, and he took them twice, nearly challenged them for the top 4. FA Cup final, I think they beat some top clubs to the FA Cup final, top managers he's beaten. So I think all in all, JP, he deserves all the respect in the world, and he deserves to really be here, mate, until he fails, or until he thinks it's maybe time for Pastures New again. Because, like you say, for Celtic to attract a manager, to give him that salary, he's got to be a top manager. You don't just give a Celtic job to anybody. So all in all, mate, I think he's earned the right to be here until I think it's out of his hands, i.e. losing the league or no winning anything. I think that's when it's maybe time to say, right, I don't think any manager can survive that, JP. So on that question, mate, I think he deserves all respect, and I'm agreeing with Baz. I think that we'll kick on now and hopefully get a bit of quality in that he wants, and then we can go for it.
Yeah, I'll probably just obviously simplify what I was going to say in terms of, I think the name Brendan Rodgers commands respect right away for the off. He's a well-known, respected manager all over the UK, if not Europe. So right away, he commands that respect. I do understand people's thoughts though, because obviously people are still very raw for people the way he left. But hearing him speak and listening to his interview, and partially the reasons he's explained to us as to why, he moved on in the first place. He picks out the recruitment. The way the recruitment works now is different for the way it worked before. The way it works now is the way he wanted it back then when he was there the first time. So you just kind of think now, what if? Because if that change was implemented then, would we still have had Brendan all this time, even right up to now? Would he have been that happy? The way like Klopp and Guardiola have been at Man City and Liverpool for the length of time they've been there. Because again, I was listening to Jamie Carragher all night, and he speaks about Klopp, and he's been at Liverpool for 8 years. But as you know yourself, mate, that's a long time for a manager nowadays to be at any modern day football club. So, it just kind of leaves you wondering if that would be the case. But no, I think Brendan commands the respect. I really do, and I think it's something that, as time goes, they always say time's a healer. And like Alan says as well, lads, I think if Celtic go on to win this league title, I don't think a lot of people are going to care whether Brendan left us before or didn't he. He's came back and he's won the title, and all in all, that's what he's getting paid to do. There's another question, and these are the kind of quickiest questions that we got through when we put it up on social media. We were doing this. It's from Ange M, and the question is: would you guys take Jota back Alan, I'll start this one off for you, mate.
In a heartbeat. Yeah, I think he's probably the most technically gifted player we've had in probably more than a decade. I think we probably miss him quite a bit this year. I know we brought in Palmer, that's been great, but I think Jota was at level just above the
That
every
must have been
player.
hard for you to say that there.
No. Oh, Palmer's been a great player, right? But we're going to struggle to get anywhere near Jota anytime in the future as well. The guy was technically magnificent. Some of the play you watched them with, it was unbelievable. So I think Jota will come back? No, never in a million years. I think he'll go on to kind of bigger things. Would I like him back? As I say, he's in a heartbeat. I think he's a top quality player that would welcome back with open arms. A second.
Baz? Jota back?
Exact same as the big man. I think it's not a question for me. I think he walks back into the team. Arguably one of the best I've seen at Celtic since I've grown up. Ability-wise, I'd put him right up there for me. Obviously, you've got people like Nakamura's and WILLBE's that were better, but he's in the last 10 years, it's hard to say that I've seen many that are better than Jota. It was short-lived because I think he only done 2 seasons. One was alone, one was but in that period of time, I thought he was brilliant. I think as a fan, you want to go to the games and watch players like him who gets bums off the seats, and I think he done that most weeks for Celtic. Was massive in the big games, always turned up and scored in the big games when you needed him.
Yeah.
So I think I've spoken about him loads of times in this podcast when he was here. I think he's a top player, and we'd be lucky to get him back because he is top level. So, but if we could get him back, I think he walks back into the Celtic starting 11.
100%. I think he's a spot on. Honestly, I would welcome him back with open arms myself. And I'm not even going to ask you because I know this wee guy here would be at the airport waiting on him turning up. Absolutely. He'd be waiting on him at the terminal. Giving it, Jota.
Back his denim gear.
Aye.
I've brought back your outfit for you.
Jota,
I've even kept your boots nice and clean for you, son.
Go Jota, Palmer.
Me? Palmer.
Oh, come on, man.
I need to stick by him. I've said too much live, but I've said too much live.
Next question.
I need to stick by him. No, Ryan's got to say what he's got to say.
No, it's the same as the lads and yourself, mate. It's a question. It's not really a question. It's, do you want to come back to Celtic? That's the question.
Somebody knows you too well, Ryan. 29.
If Jota's on my 10:30 show, then the show's done. That's us. We're gone. That's a full play for that show done. But no, in terms of Jota, he's like Baz says, he's a phenomenal talent. He's still young. He's still got a lot of development to do, and it's scary to say that, JP, when he's already at this level now. He was already highly regarded at Benfica. He played a bit in Spain with, I think it was Real Valladolid as well. So it was the only reason he didn't play at Benfica was guys were just better than him. He's came to Celtic, he's got a bit of game time, he's developed, and I think he'll be maybe somewhere close in his heart because Celtic have given him that stepping stone. Double down. But so for me, it's the simple answer is JPI. He comes back, no bother. Palmer is decent. His numbers are decent. His numbers are decent, JP, but I've always said sometimes stats don't always tell you the story, and sometimes his bits of play is still going to get to anywhere near Jota. I've said many times now, he's filled the void of Jota, and he's helped the gap that he's not here anywhere, but he's not replaced him just yet. He could, he's still young and he's still got potential, but overall with Jota, mate, I don't think it's a question. Do we want him back? It's would he come back here and take a massive wage cut, mate? Because he's living a high life now, and I doubt he's want to go and sit in Victoria's or the Sav and £30,000 a week, mate. So I think it's all down to what he wants, mate, and not really kind of what us as fans want.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're all in agreement that we would have Jota back and without even any blinking or hesitation. Colin Jordan sent a wee question in on the lives. He said, "Evening boys, do you think Celtic should break the Scottish transfer record of 12 million this January or even the summer if a player fits the profile?" Baz, I'll put that one to you, mate. What do you think?
I'm not really one for going and spending, like, I'm saying Celtic need to go and spend 15 million, 16 million on a player. I think what us as fans want is players who are going to come in, regardless the transfer fee, to start and improve the team. Transfer fee don't really matter to me because you see Matt O'Reilly, who we signed for a couple of million, come in and played near enough every game since he signed. We didn't pay 15 or 12 million for him. So you can still get players who are good enough to come in and start in that starting 11 for cheap prices. It's about finding them in the recruitment side of things. So I don't think we need to go and spend fortunes. It would be nice if the player did fit the bill. Then if you think that's what he's worth, then go and spend it. But I don't think we're kind of probably in that type of market. I think we're in the market for your likes of people like your Matt O'Reillys, your Atatis, and to be fair, they've spent a lot of money on Carter Vickers and Jota in the past, Edwards and people like that, which have been justified and they've lived up to the price tag and a bit more. So we have done it in the past, but I don't think that it's a be all and end all of throwing 12 to 15 millions about for one player. I think it doesn't really matter. It's about if this player can come in and get into the starting 11 rather than signing players who 3-4 millions like your Lagerbielkas and your Rockies, and they're not starting at the minute. That's the worrying side for me when you're spending money like that, because we spoke about Rangers with Lammers going out on loan and talk about Yilmaz going out on loan. They've spent a bit of money on them. We are kind of in the same situation with a few others that we brought in, i.e. Lagerbielka might be going to Italy. We spent a big fee on him. So that's more worrying than going and spending your 15 millions on and breaking records. I think you don't need to spend that amount of money to get a player good enough to come in and start in the starting 11. I think you could spend the similar amounts to what you've paid for Carter Vickers and Jotas and get a player that will be top level for us.
Yeah, I've said numerous times, Baz, that it doesn't matter the amount of money you could go and spend on a guy, because it's all to do with what his attributes are and what he's going to bring to the team. You can go and spend 10 million on a guy and he's going to come in and he could flop because he's not the right profile. He's not going to fit into the team, and the camaraderie is not going to be there, and something might be off, and it just might totally throw him. You look at the Barkas money we spent. Ageti. Now, I know people might say there's other circumstances behind that. Regardless of the circumstances, Celtic fans remember these guys because they never perform well for a high fee. And you've got Cameron Carter Vickers, you paid £6 million for him, but you only paid that because you had him on loan.
Mm-hmm.
And you knew that he was capable. It was the same with Jota, and it was the same with Odsonne Edouard when we bought him for £9 million. But we could go and buy a guy now at £9 million, Buzz, and he might come and we might be like, he's not even any better than Marvin Comper. You know, so I think you're spot on, Baz. I think you're bang on there in terms of it's about the right player. It's not about you've got to have the right attributes and you've got to have the right qualities to come in and represent Celtic.
You see it with people like Anthony at Man United. What have they paid? 75 for him? 75 million, and the fans aren't too happy with him. You get we spent 6 or whatever it was in Carter because he put that price tag up with the season he was with us on loan.
Yeah.
If we bid for him before we got him on loan, it'd have been probably half of what we actually paid the year afterwards. So it's price tag doesn't mean a player's going to be good or no. You've seen this season in the Premier League alone with people like Enzo at Chelsea, 100 million. Do the Chelsea fans probably think he's worth that? They know, probably no. Anthony, similar at Man United. So I'm not too worried about price tags. Price tags just a figure, and they can get a bit carried away with some of the price tags because there's bargains out there. But like you said, it's all about recruitment and picking the right people for the right prices.
Yeah. Ryan, do you go with that, mate?
Aye, the price tag is just a price tag, JP. It's not the relevance of the player. You've seen the market down south and you've seen the market up here. It's totally different. We value Matt O'Reilly maybe at, I don't know, we think you should maybe go for £30 million roughly because he's a top player. If he was playing with Everton or West Ham, they were talking going to be for 50, 60 million just because where he's playing. Sometimes that matters as well. It's just the market as well. The market's crazy now, mate. And it's all about, like Baz says, it's all about fitting the profile for the club, and the player fits the club. And like you say, he could be an amazing player, but he might not be the best maybe socially or the best in the dressing room, and it might upset the apple cart. And it's in the clubs, Baz, I know himself, he's played in many dressing rooms. The dressing room's got to be solid if you want to go and win trophies. And if you're not really doing well, that's when you need your team to be kind of, I'm not saying go out drinking and stuff, but being social together, being tight knitted. In some dressing rooms are not like that because they've signed guys for a lot of money and they're just coming in training and going home and not really socialise and no having that team bonding team spirit. And it all depends on that as well, mate. There's loads of factors why guys are paid big money. And it is mainly obviously due to ability, but there's also other reasons why. But I'd love, like Baz says, I'd love us to go and spend money, mate, like that. But can we really go and spend that on one player? Because that means you need to balance the rest of your budget. That means you might need to sell one or two guys. I know guys will go, we've got £7-8 million in the bank, you win the league, you get this. Aye, but you still need to pay wages, you still need to pay staff, you still need to pay everything else. You can't just go and spend £15 million because you've got more money in the bank. You still need to spend on other things. So I think I'm agreeing with Baz and yourself, mate, that it's all about what fits the club and the profile. Edward was an absolute, I still say, Edward now was an absolute snip at £9 million. It was daylight robbery. The guy, for me, like Baz says, you want to go and watch teams and players and get bums off the seats. And Edward, for me, I know people talk about the wee man, Kyogo, being the best in class and stuff, but when Edward get the ball, guys like that, Jota, you're like, wow, when you go and do something. Kyogo's different because he's an out-and-out striker. It's different because you know that get the ball, dribble, creativity. The wee man's just blast man, boom, movement, boom, brilliant. But like Baz says, with guys like Jota and Edward, they are different type of players. They're the guys you want to go and see every week. It's the same. That's why we love going to watch these European players. I love going to see Celtic, but going to see Griezmann play and guys like that, it's brilliant to watch, JP. That's the guys you want to spend money for. So that's the question, is, mate. I love that. I love it. But it all depends on if the club feel the value of players worth that money and will they fit the club and will they be good enough to play at Celtic. So that's probably the answer to that, mate.
See, before the big man comes in, JP, can I just touch on, see if you go and spend 12 million on a player or 15 million, what you have to realise as well is that player's going to be coming in big wages, which then will be more than what anybody's on at that team at the minute if you're paying a £12 million fee. So then you'll have people like Callum McGregor's, Carter Vickers saying, well, I'm one of the main players here. He's getting that. I need to relatively... So then you upset the apple cart and you need to start giving new contracts to these players. Because you can't have somebody that's signed for 12 million on X amount and the rest all the way down here. It doesn't... It unsettles the changing room.
Yeah, no, 100%. Alan, would you agree with that, mate? What's your thoughts on terms of spending money and spending big money? Would you agree with what Baz is saying there? Because me personally, mate, I just feel that it's a massive gamble if you take that, especially, you know, you look at Jadon Sancho. He went to Man United for huge money, and it's not worked out. What was it, 70 odd million quid? And now he's back at Borussia Dortmund on loan for 6 months. try to find his feet again and get himself going again in career. It's massive. You look at Anthony Martial. He's another one that's went to Manchester United again, and a lot of Man United fans probably don't see him as a massive player for them. He's a kind of run-of-the-mill type player, they would label him down there. And again, it came for a big fee. Sometimes you pay big fees, mate, doesn't guarantee you success.
I think the important part of the question was that is he the right fit for the club? It's not even about the financial figure. I would hope to think that if we thought somebody was like Edward, like Jota, like Carter Vickers, that we would go and spend the money on them. But it is a big decision because it's a lot of money for a club like Celtic. We don't usually spend that kind of money. The last time kind of 12 million was spent in Scotland was Tor Andrews Flo, and that didn't turn out too well. So it's a massive decision, but the more important part of the question that's imperative is he the right fit for the club? And there's a lot of kind of variables about that. So I've said to use a few times, most of the time, like anything in life, you get what you pay for, but there is at times like you pay for kind of Barkas, Ayeti, etc. that it doesn't work out as much. So I'd try and concentrate less on the transfer figure and kind of more on it's the correct kind of player that we're bringing into the club. Because we have been burnt in the past with kind of transfer figures. I'd like us to spend a little more than we've been spending recently, because you usually get your money's worth, but it's still, we're not a cash-rich club. We need to be careful what we're spending. We need to be very, very careful and make sure that we've done all our homework, done our scouting, and make sure that we're getting the proper fit player for the club. The guy that's coming in is spot on, because we've not really got that kind of money to waste on players like that.
See JP on what Baz says, I think he's spot on, and that's one reason why I think we thought McGregor got a brand new deal. It was to bump his wage up because we potentially thought there was maybe going to be a big deal, because there was rumours about the last summer or so, but there was going to be a big kind of summer signing. There was a few rumours flying out for like guys like Podence and stuff like that, and you're thinking, right, well, if he's getting that new deal, which again, I don't know what players get, I don't care. If you listen to media, you're talking maybe 35, 40 grand a week. If that's what it is, that's what it is, right? That's what it is. Then I thought, right, we all kind of thought the same thing. Me, yourself, Alan, we all thought this, that potentially could be because I've got to get somebody big wages. So I agree with Baz as well. They've got to be. You can't give McGregor that wage. I mean, the manager probably should be the highest paid player, potentially. Or he wanted him at least anyway. And then you can't leave Baz says if he signed something for £12 million, he's probably coming potentially maybe get, I don't know, I'm not going to sit and guess wages here, but
no, of course, but
it could be 60 grand a week or something.
Well,
then,
you can.
Do you know what I mean?
Think about it as Baz says. You can think about it off the top of your head. It's got to be high. It's got to be a high fee.
It's like Baz says. It's a normal job. It's like any other jobs. If I'm getting this X amount, but then somebody's come in and just come in and don't getting that, I'm like, wait a minute here. I've been here for ages. Why you get so? It's the same as football players, mate. People need to remember as well. Football players, it's a job. That's Baz. That's his job.
Yeah.
It's McGregor, Palmer. That's their job. But just because they've got the high life and it's all right money, they think it's just money. They're human beings, mate. It's a job, so they're going to want more money. So no, I think Baz is spot on, mate. I think you've got to have that balance as well. You've got to have if Celtic pay 60 grand a week, just say they're talking for a high big signing, like Baz says, McGregor's going to be like, well, wait a minute here. I'm the captain. I've been here for years. I'm a Scotland internationalist. I'm one of the biggest things at this club. I should be getting that as well. So I think Baz is spot on, mate. I think that's something sometimes you don't think about because it's just you want the big money signs. Yeah,
no, 100%. Like I says, it's when you spend big money, it doesn't guarantee you anything at all. It's even the big when the clubs go and spend £300-400 in a transfer kitty. over a period of time, it doesn't guarantee you anything. What was it, Man U spent over 400 million quid, and they finished bottom of a Champions League group. They've not done too well, and they're not doing too well in the league. Chelsea, look at the amount of money they've kind of rattled through.
Crazy.
They're calling this project that they're doing it now. We're bringing in a lot of young guys, and I like what they're doing. Don't get me wrong, but are they doing it the right way? Probably not. Because again, they're spending big money on a lot of young guys who some of them haven't really been tested at a high level or a right competitive level for a long time. So some of them don't have experience to carry the team. And they had a very poor result the other night. So, again, these are examples of spending big money doesn't guarantee you anything. It's all about doing your recruitment, doing your due diligence, and doing your work quickly and efficiently, and try to do it the right way. You're never going to get every signing spot on, by the way. But what you can do is do it effectively and not cost your club a huge bill at the end of it. Some good points here, guys. Give me a question from Francis Lester, and he says, are we really going to replace Abada with this German guy? I'm probably going to go first this one, guys. To be fair, there's quite a lot of information. It seems to be everybody's in the know right now of Liel Abada and what's going on in his situation and things like he's been getting put under pressure. And from my take on this, the club have looked after him very well. And you're hearing Brendan taking him for meals, and I don't know, but as you probably could tell me yourself, mate, I don't know how many players nowadays get that kind of treatment of like managers in modern day football. But he's been looked after very, very well. We understand he's of a different background and culture and beliefs, etc. What's happening over and where he's from and his part of the world is nothing short of a shambles and terrible. I'm not going to sit here and talk quite a lot about it because I don't know an awful lot about it. All I'm saying is, Francis, my first initial thoughts, mate, would be no. I don't think we're going to replace Abada with the lad we've been linked to, Nicholas Kuhn. I think Liel Abada will still be part of our squad unless something miraculous happens. I just don't see what changes there. Abada's came back from injury, and it's like, lads, he's came right back into this big melting pot of hundreds of information about him and big beatons on social media talking to him and talking about him, and he's probably been like, what the hell's going on? I'm trying to recover here, get myself back in this team and starting to get back amongst the boys, back amongst the goals. I seen a tweet today, and the guy had actually alluded to Abada was walking round the pitch after Celtic beat Rangers, but because he's on his own, he wants away. Now, I genuinely had to look in my box to see if there was any of my tablets left, because I wasn't sure if I'd taken them before I read that or no, or should I take them after I read that or no. But oh my goodness, I mean, this is see stuff like this. Ryan, I'll put this to you first. It causes unnecessary anxiety among people's mindsets, and it's madness, absolutely madness. And I don't think there's any element of drastic worry here or panic that Liel Abada is leaving Celtic in the immediate future. Maybe I'm wrong, but to answer Francis's question, quite candid there, no, I don't think we'll be replacing Liel Abada with Nicholas Kuhn.
I don't think it doesn't matter if it's Abada, Yang, Forrest. It's not a replacement. It's just to add to the quality. We do need another winger. Because like I said, right now I can see Yang get attributes, but right now he's not playing. So you need somebody to come in and help that. Does Rodgers actually see Maeda playing from the middle as well? So again, that's another aspect to think about the midfield situation. If you believe in media, JP, Matt O'Reilly's away. Kyogo's wanting away. They're all wanting away. The media, Baz will tell you, Baz has been in the media for a long time
all the
with
Japanese
football.
were all leaving as well, remember, when
Aye,
Hans left?
any guy that's been in Baz's situation, playing football for at the highest level, the media are one of the worst things in the world for trying to get players away or try to unsettle people and try to put questions across you to try and make you slip up. I know that's their job, but do not believe everything you don't, especially Twitter. Twitter's one of the worst things to read after, because people think because you've got a wee bit of following and you tweet something that it's right. It's all about probably eye pressure. That's all it'll be. If Abada or anybody goes, i.e. that type of thing, it's not down to Celtic want him to go or him want to leave. It's due to other things, maybe out his capacity that he's been told he's going to go. That's probably the only reason Abada's going to go. It's not because Celtic want to go or the manager wants to go or the club want to sell. I see somebody saying today, Celtic wanting to get more money. Nonsense. He's just signed a new contract. If Celtic want to sell him, it'd have been off by now. It's just like you say, JP. It's all to do with pressure on his young shoulders. He's a young guy. He's got a young family. He's got a young missus. It's crazy, mate. And just let the guy play his football. And if he goes, he goes. It's down to the club, and it's between him and his family and the club and his situation. If you believe in media, mate, everybody at Celtic's gone. The manager's not going to be here any longer and stuff. So I would just say, just believe when it's confirmed. When something's confirmed, believe it. When a guy signs and he's got the scarf or he's signed his contract, then you believe it. If you've got guys who you believe, who you might trust behind the scenes, fair enough, but don't believe everything you do on Twitter, mate, because social media is toxic, mate, and people will tweet what about to believe, and I think sometimes people, especially when you're putting out information like that, you need to remember who you're putting it out to, because as soon as you put it out, it's everywhere. So you need to remember.
Yeah, you open up doors and tons of worms for yourself.
So the question to Francis, I don't think it's anything to do with replacement. It's meant to do with just adding quality to the squad, which I think we do need.
Yeah, Baz, your thoughts on that one, mate?
I don't think it's to replace Abada. I think Abada's still got a big part to play. If it's true that Brendan Rodgers did take Abada out for a meal, then that tells you everything you need to know. Brendan's took Abada out for a meal. Brendan wants him to stay at Celtic and sees him as a big player for Celtic. So if that's actually true, then the proof's in the pudding there and for everybody. A manager's going out his way to take a player out for a meal in this day and age. It goes a lot. He obviously feels a lot about Abada, so I don't think he'll be in to replace Abada. And I know Ryan says I think we need a winger. I don't think we need a winger. I feel as if with the two of them back now, Maeda, Abada, Palma, you've got Yang. We've still not seen Telio, so we can't really say if he's good or bad. We've not seen him, but that's another winger, Mikey Johnson, James Forrest. I know you need to improve the quality, but I think Abada, Maeda and Palma are more than good enough to fight for the two spots. And I think by bringing another one in, how do you keep them all happy? There's four then. If you bring this Kuhn boy in, there's four of them that are want to play two positions. It's we talk about chopping and changing, but as a big player, you want to be playing in the big games, and that's when you're happy, when you're getting picked for the big games. So there's going to be two that are not happy. You can't keep four happy. It's impossible. So I believe it's the opposite, really. I think we need to probably get wingers out and strengthen in other areas. So, but to answer Francis' question, no, I don't think he's in to replace Abada. I think Abada is going to be. I think Abada will start more than enough games this second half of the season than most of the wingers.
Yeah, Alan.
Aye, no, just what the guy says. I think Abada's got a massive part in this squad and probably first 11 to play for the remainder of the season. I don't get involved in much in politics and it doesn't interest me. I'd rather see the guys kind of. It'd be very sad if somebody would leave because of something political. They're here to play football and that's all the fans should be interested in as well. Everybody's different. I don't agree or disagree with anything, but guys are there to play football. We're here to support them play football. So go on with that part of the game. But I think Abada's got a massive part to play. I think there will, obviously, it looks like the Nicholas Coon's coming in. I think there will be a couple of players that leave. I think you might see kind of Mikey Johnston and Tillio, especially. Tillio's coming out today and saying he's been fit for the last 4 months. So that's saying kind of one thing in my eyes, that Brendan doesn't fancy him as much. So I think if you've got the German guy coming in, then you've got Kuhl, Abada, Palma and Maeda there, that's more than enough. I think he's just plenty of cover. I think he's just hopefully enough quality to go through the season. But I would hate to think that Abada's leaving because of the reasons that's been mentioned in the press. That's just we're more than that. That's, you'd hope that we've kind of moved on as human beings for kind of accepting being political as part of football. You're leaving clubs for that. That would sincerely disappoint me if that was the reason, if we lost a player.
Yeah, you would like to think it would appear rather petty, wouldn't it, if that was the case, that, you know, because let's say for talking sake that was that, you know, what was put on Twitter and stuff was true, right? And that was why Abada was leaving, because he was being put under pressure due to his religious reasons or beliefs or whatever it may be. What happens if he goes to another club who have got other beliefs that don't then go with Abada's beliefs? Does he just keep doing that every time? You know, it's absolutely madness. Absolutely madness. So I think, in all honesty, I think we can maybe put that to bed for now in terms of, is Abada being replaced? I don't think so. And I think we'll all agree there that we don't think so. The next one's from Pat McLaughlin. Pat says, do you think we could buy Bernardo for the $6 million this window, but sell O'Reilly or Hatate as well? Alan, I'll put that one to you first, big guy.
Oh, the second part of that, it's a big no-no. I think Matt O'Reilly's doing that well. I think we'll struggle to keep him come the summer. I think he'll stay to the summer. I know he's just signed a contract, but I think you're seeing he's attracting kind of attention for major clubs. I think we might struggle to keep him. I'd love to keep him, especially Hatate as well. I think Hatate's the best player we've got in the league. So the $6 million quoted for Bernardo, going on the last 2 or 3 games, it seems like you'd pay that. He's been exceptional in the last few games, but
yeah,
you've got to realise this guy's been available for the last 6 months as well. Hatate was injured with Bernardo, Home, Turnbull and Iwata that were kind of trying to grasp that position while Hatate was injured. With one in 1 week, another in the next week, and none of them seem to grasp that position and take advantage of it. So I'd be giving it another couple of months before I'm committing to paying that kind of figure. I think we've got to the end of the season that you've got a loan with an option to buy. If he's still performing to the level that it has been the last couple of games, then you would say, I go for it. You would think that Celtic would take up that option to buy. But just play it by ear at the minute. Let's see if he can keep up that kind of exceptional play that he has been. And hopefully he does so, because if he does keep up that level of play, then it'd be a kind of pleasure to have in our squad in first 11.
Yeah, Baz, what about obviously the question, would you pay the $6 million for Bernardo, and would you also sell O'Reilly or Hatate?
Well, no, I wouldn't sell either of them. If we never had to, obviously, it's down to the players at the end of the day, and if they're still happy to be playing for Celtic, which Matt O'Reilly looks as if he loves it there. We've spoke about Hatate. You've seen Brendan with him coming off the park at the St Mirren game, and if we believe the press then as well, that looked as if that was his last game as well. No, I wouldn't sell either of them. They're two our biggest and probably best players at the minute. I know Hatate's had a up and down season with injuries, but he's one of Celtic's best players along with Matt O'Reilly. So I think that's a big no if we've got the choice as a club, it's a no for me. Bernardo's it's a hard one because right now, no, I wouldn't spend 6 million because I think we've seen glimpses and it's been over the last 2 or 3 weeks, but he's been here for a long time now. He's been here for a good couple of months and he's only really started showing us in the last 3-4 weeks quality really. So I think you probably need a bit longer to start throwing about 6 millions or whatever it may be to get him out of Benfica. But I think what we have seen recently is a top player on his day. And to force away into that Celtic midfield three at the minute, it'll be really hard if they three are fit and firing. I don't know who gets in, to be honest. It'd be tough. But the biggest compliment I can give Bernardo is he probably does play a lot of games based on his last few performances. No surprise because, like I say, that I've not seen enough of him. He's been in and out. It's been home. It's been Turnbull. It's been Bernardo. So he's not had a run. So I wouldn't say surprised, but he's been arguably Celtic's best player the last few games, and an Old Firm game as well. He was brilliant. So if he keeps going the way he has the last few weeks, then you pay the 6 million all day. But based on half a season, overall, I don't think you probably pay 6 million at the minute. I think you wait to the end of the season and then judge it then.
Yeah, because I think obviously looking at him just now, this is my take on it. I don't know if you guys, yourself, Alan and Baz, you have spoke about him already, so I don't know if you would agree here. But my take on that is that he's already, what you were saying, Baz, in terms of, you've had Home, you've had Turnbull, you've had Iwata, you've had Bernardo, and they've all kind of chopped and changed in there. But that last week in a 4-1 in a row game there that we had, including the derby, what you saw in Bernardo there was a boy that was getting a bit fitter, a boy that was getting a bit sharper. And with that came quality, and that he was able to show what he was all about. So for me, in those games, I thought he looked very powerful. I thought he could run, he could pass, he could take the ball on, he could take it in a half turn, he could hold on to the ball, he can link play. And he looks as if he's got a very, very calm head on him as well, and that he's composed. But like you says, Baz, when you deliver in the derby, right away, mate, that's when you go to the peak of your powers, because that's when you go up the tree, because it's like, boom, big game player. Right away, you're labelled. That's what happens when you score goals in that game. You're then labelled in the games. So for me, lads, I just think, I agree with you in terms of the 6 million fee. I think it's still a bit early and being that hasty with that right now and doing that. But I don't think, well, I tell you what, I know a couple of goals like that in a derby, and we're not that far away from getting on the table with his advisors, I think. Because the finesse and everything, and the ball to Greg Taylor in the St Mirren game, and the one to the outside his boot to Matt O'Reilly for that goal, that's unbelievable. And then his wee Cruyff turn in the box, composure. He pulls a great save from the St Mirren goalkeeper as well. Should have scored on that day as well. So, no, I think what kicked him on was his goal at Dundee. And I think you've seen him, like his whole persona and the way his personality kicked in. He started to feel like one of the lads. After that, he was like, right, I'm being accepted here now. I'm kind of starting to settle a bit more. But no, I agree with you too. I think we're still a bit early for the 6 million fee. Going to the second half of that question, would I sell Hatate or O'Reilly? No, I wouldn't. You need to be off your nut if you try to sell any one of the two of them. And if you're thinking about doing it, contact your GP right now, or even out of our service in Glasgow right now, because they are waiting on your phone call. Talk to Frank. Aye, they are waiting on your phone call.
You need to take somebody to Ludaballs that they've been taking across the water.
Definitely. Your GP needs a visit for you, pal. Ryan, your thoughts on that, mate?
I think we've spoken about it in our wee chat, mate, and what Baz says here, he's spot on. If it's on everything so far, no, you need to wait till the end of the summer. I've liked him so far. He's not done anything flashy until the last 3 or 4 games, but he's always looked a wee bit tidy. He's always looked decent. But with the conversation with Barry McCandless, and he didn't understand kind of what he was there for. Is he an attacker? Is he a centre mid? Is he a 10? What is he? And I think you can see now his position. He's definitely an attack midfielder. That goal against them across the water, Rangers, I think Baz will tell you, that technique's phenomenal. To keep that ball down and straight and narrow and into the net, that could have went away up to the TV at Celtic Park. That could have went anywhere. And the pace that's come out for the corner, and it was a phenomenal strike. And that's not something you can practice, JP, but that's a good player. It does that right away. So for me, right now, I wouldn't do it at 6 million. That'll
be me. That'll be me then. That'll be me. That'll be me. I always like to just be slightly different, Timmy.
The earbuds don't work.
Depending on when you came across this podcast, mate, we are a very different. We are a different breed of people, mate. We are a different breed of people. With a name like Timmy Mallet, I would be very, very careful with your next choice of phrases that you put on this podcast, sir.
But Teresa Bernardo, JP, I think right now, no. But if he continues the way he's going and does it to the end of the season, £6 million could actually look a snippet if he continues to be the way he's going, because especially the game against St Mirren, I thought it was very, very, very good. I know St Mirren, and you can only play against who you're playing against. You can only play against the guys in your league. But overall, mate, he's a good player, and who knows how far he'll get to. But if he keeps continuing the way he's going, then I think if that's where it is, 6 million, I know we've seen different prices quoted, then 6 million could look a bargain, similar to Jota. Didn't have the best of 6 months, 5 months, Jota. But then after January and the year he was here, it was phenomenal. And Bernardo could be the same. He's come through the same background, the same youth system. So he's obviously been through that as well. So I think that could be a good deal if he continues to be the way he's going.
Yeah, I think that's what we need. We just need the level of consistency to keep going, and then for me, the money's not going to be it's going to be a no-brainer. It's not going to be an issue. It's better. Put it this way: we've got another 2 days to go, minus obviously if we were to draw them again in the cup. So if for talk's sake, we play them in 3 games and he scores in every one of them, for me right away, yeah, bang. You're going and you're buying him just for the fact that he's a big game player. Because everybody, I'm hearing just now that Kyogo doesn't offer much, but he scores big goals. But he doesn't do anything else. Apparently, he doesn't do anything else. So we go to Celtic Park and we see him making all these runs in behind, and he's moving on and off the ball, and he drops in, and he does this, and he drags people away, and he doesn't do any of that. That's no him. That's somebody else that looks like him. He just does. He's just the guy who scores the goals.
The reason why I feel fans think that is right because no every player looks at beyond the ball. See, like when you look at the wee man, like you're probably privy more to watching the TV because at the stadium you're really only looking at the ball most of the time, right? But when you see it on TV, sometimes I'm finished work, I can't get to the game, etc.
You sound like I'm out of Space Jam. Beat the ball.
I beat the ball. His movements frightening me. His movements, it's down to the wingers or the mids to find him because he's making these runs.
Yes.
And the only reason he's not doing anything is because last year with Jota and Abada, they were finding him. They were getting the bottom. And now it's maybe Maeda and Palmer are no getting to grips with Juicy. No, maybe more Palmer than it is Maeda because he's played him for a while now. They're not really getting to grips to where he is, but that'll come. That's telepathic. Eventually that will come, because when you train with guys every day and you play them in these big games, eventually you get to know each other's steps without even doing it. So I think that's one reason why some fans think, oh, he's not doing nothing. But if you probably go look at his data, if you go look at his UBS data, it'll probably be he's done this amount of sprints, he's done this amount of movements. It'll be sky high because he doesn't stop. But
Baz has actually spoke about it on here before, like, especially him and Maeda. Their running's got to be in the red. It's got to be high on the chart.
It's similar to
really
Messi, right? I'm not saying he's Messi, but what I'm saying is, see, if you hear guys talk about Messi, Messi says, like, I can't remember the exact how many minutes in time, but I think he says for the first 5-10 minutes, he just watches and observes defenders. Doesn't really sprint, just looks at them, their movements, and then bang, he's away. He does this, he moves. And that's what, similar to Kyogo, he doesn't always run, he doesn't always make the movement, but when he does, he's effective. And I think that's what it is, JP. I think sometimes you need to broaden your horizon and look at the game as a full, and actually look at his movements, and then I think you can go for there.
By the way, George, he does that in training every day, by the way. It's just, that's how he's always late on here at night. You know what I mean? He does, that's what he's recovering for.
Tackle that's brilliant.
Superb. But there you go, Baz, a nice wee compliment to you as well for one of our listeners.
I've never been called a tough tackler in my life, but I'll take it.
Aye. What's just with the wee runs you make,
mate? Tractor down there.
Man's got a wee toy
Not yet, but
he's going to jump out and slap it tonight, isn't he?
He's not got one yet, but I'm going down to visit him in a couple of weeks, so I'll be taking one with me, don't worry.
I've got the wee ones, the wee guy, the wee, what do you call them? What was that wee show when you're younger?
Tractors.
No, what was it called? The fat controller was in it.
Thomas the Tank Engine.
Thomas the Tank, yeah.
Aye, my Percy.
Come on now, Percy, come on now.
I could actually picture you, by the way.
The brother-in-law's got a few real ones, I'll get you one, right?
Oh my God, man. Honest to God.
The Kyogo thing there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're talking about he's not doing anything else, but how do you think these midfielders are all coming up with these numbers of goals? Because he's a marked man now. Like, people aren't stupid. They know who's the danger man, so they're going to mark him. So he's doing, it's unselfish runs for other players to get in, i.e. Matt O'Reilly. Matt O'Reilly's probably never scored this amount of goals in his career up until this season. Because Kyogo's sometimes attracting 2 and 3 players. It's no just by coincidence that Matt O'Reilly keeps arriving in the box unmarked. It's because Kyogo's probably got 2 or 3 looking to stop him if he tap him the ball into the net, what he was doing last year. So he's not only is he a top, but he's unselfish, because a lot of his runs are unselfish runs for other people to get in off the back of him. And that's the hardest thing as a footballer today, is to run somewhere knowing it's not for yourself, it's for somebody else. Because you think, what man? But see people that do that they're worth their weight in gold, because we've got some players in our team who make these runs, and I watch them in training and think, I would never ever think of doing that run. I would just never do it. It's not. But people like Kyogo, it's built in them, and it's so unselfish. But for the team, it's massive.
Well,
I think I've said on here numerous times.
Well, we used to hit the byline like constantly last year. We're still doing it at times, right? But we're not doing that as much. That's where you seen a lot of Kyogo's goals last year. That a couple of times against Hearts, that he was coming across the front post, where Johnston, Ralston, Taylor were hitting the byline and cut that across them. We're not doing that as much. We're kind of playing more about the midfield. We're still getting down to the byline, but I think the high majority of Ange's game was hitting the byline and cutting it back across. And we're not doing that as much. We're kind of using different methods of playing, different players to get goals, as Barry was saying. So we've got many of the midfielders that are contributing, and Kyogo's taking the defenders out of position.
Modern day, Alan, it's called being a really good team, mate. That's what you put it down to, mate. And I know what you're saying in terms of the tactical element of the the ball gone to the byline, getting fizzed across the box, and having like preferably like a front five attacking all variations of the box, and going to the near, going to the far, going to the and another one or two standing there for the second ball getting dropped out as well. So it's a bit different now. Whereas now the runs are a bit more flowing now, a bit more like, if he goes there, he drops in here. It's all tactical. It kind of flows a bit better now, instead of the kind of 3D football with the gung ho style under Big Ange. It kind of it flows a bit more in the better, a wee bit better on the eye sometimes, and that you're instead of one passage of play is going, but it's going in like simulation. It's not going. It's like ham and ham and ham and ham and ham and ham and ham. So sometimes I think it just depends on your preference as a fan. Lots of people, including myself, love Big Ange's football, but you've got like the Brennan style of football where there's a lot more tactical element in it, and you can see the players have took a wee while to get that among them, which is probably why we've seen the dip in form we've seen as well, because we're trying to do things with the ball. Carl McGregor's picking the ball up, and then before you know it, he's not even getting the next to him. He's having to run 30, 40 yards with the ball before somebody will get near him and drop in and show. But since he changed the midfield about and he brought Bernardo in and gave him a steady game, for me, I just think Bernardo, Baz, I don't know how you would agree with this, mate, but just the last couple of games here, I think Bernardo has been like a kind of Scott McTominay for Callum McGregor the last couple of games, and that he's really helped Callum McGregor bring his game up a level and gave McGregor that confidence that he can break away for the six if he needs to and go into the comfortably, because he knows he's going to have him drop him in and covering his backside. Whereas before, you were maybe having Thiago home, who maybe yet hasn't got that personality to go, right, I'll grab this game in the scruff of my neck, Callum, you go forward and I'll drop in for you. He's gone drifting and he's getting pulled out wide or pulled out to somewhere that he's not comfortable in. So sometimes I think it's people's preferences and what they see, and obviously I suppose it's brilliant because we can all sit and debate about it and we can all have a right good chat about the tactical implement, this and that. But overall, it's still like Kyogo. He's still free. It's still free flowing attacking football. He's still closing down at a rapid rate up high. I mean, like you'll know yourself, guys. Your centre backs, modern day centre backs, want the ball, but you can't do it when you've got somebody like him in Maeda hitting you. Because as soon as your keepers then fear to give you the ball, because unless you've got yards, which you've not really got, because he's pressing, he's coming up against you, and if he's no, you've got Duracell or Hairs coming up against you, as I call him. So when they two are pressing you, you're having to go long, you're having to try and go direct or miss out your midfield and go to the wings. And so I suppose it's a massive weapon for Celtic, Baz, in that you're constantly getting them thinking. And it can become unpredictable because, again, teams aren't good at a lot of teams can't act under pressure, mate. They can't play under pressure. So when that happens, that's how you've seen Balogun getting sent off, because he's being pressed with two speed demons and he didn't know what to do, and that's what happens.
I think you're spot on, mate. I think going back to the goals Kyogo was scoring last year, like Big Alan's spot on with the cutbacks, but you've got to give credit to teams as well that they're watching that last season. They're not going to keep letting Celtic get to the byline and flash balls across. They then set up to stop that happening. So that's probably how you don't see as many as their goals this season, because teams are they did their homework. Do you know what I mean? A lot of goals Celtic last year were getting byline, cut across ball, Kyogo tap in, Kyogo getting across the front. Teams are now out and purposely knowing that's one of Celtic's biggest strengths. How can we stop that? Mm-hmm. So you have to work day in, day out scoring different goals, playing different ways. And that's how, at the start of the season, Celtic probably struggled a wee bit because Brendan came in and teams had done their own work, but now Brendan's found another way. You've got other people scoring goals who probably weren't as bigger threats last season, i.e. Matt O'Reilly. He chipped in, but this season he's the top goal scorer, I think, in the league at the minute. So, yeah, they're finding different ways, and that's what good teams do, and that's what good players do. Kyogo's probably not enjoying it because he wants to go score goals, and he's probably not scoring as many as he wants, but it shows you the mark of the guy as a person, how he's willing to do the unselfish stuff for Mark O'Reilly to take all the limelight at the minute. And when you've got a player like that, mate, they're so hard to come by, and I think we're lucky to have him at Celtic Park. Being a player of yourself, they're the type of people you want in your team because, like you said, after the ball, one of the best probably in Europe at pressing for the front that you probably see as a striker. He can occupy a defensive cell, he can close down a defensive cell, he's that quick and nimble, and how quick he is to cover the ground. He's unbelievable after the ball, winning the ball back for you. And like I said, he's so unselfish. You see it more as a player than you probably would as a fan, but they're the type of players you want to play with up front. People like him who'll work when you've not got the ball and is willing to do pointless runs to get teammates in and goal.
So that's something JP, like Baz says, and you're spot on as well, mate. And defenders don't like pace, mate. You might not have the best ability, but see if you're a nuisance and you're fit as hell, you're an athlete, and you press, defenders eventually are going to get worn down. That sometimes it annoys me with sometimes with us, real wingers. Sometimes when you buy a man once, they just don't do it again. I'm like, if you get by your man once, just do it all the time, because like Jota, done it all the time. Abada, direct. Eventually, they're going to crumble. Oh, he's at me again. And that takes its toll, JP. If you're there for 90 minutes, man, it's going to eventually, they're going to break down. Eventually, we're going to do what Bargain does. Or I'll just fill you here. I'm sick of this. And then
I couldn't believe he done it. See when he done it, what are you doing? You've just let your team down badly. Really badly.
That was at my end, mate, and I knew right away he was off. Like, it was either centre half or he's through and goal. He was off. But as a defender, you've got to think, mate, if I pull him back here, I'm off, or do I let him go and score? Or potentially miss it. But that's down to experience, mate. And we all know in Scotland, with the pace that they've got out wide, mate, it's frightening to have, because no every winger no every fullback in Scotland is realistically got that pace and the athleticism that they've got. They're just different cultures, mate. Maeda and Kyogo, it's just where they're from, it's their diets are different, their training is different, everything's all different to the way we are, mate. And I'm totally Baz is right. And when you've got guys like that in your team, you've always got an outball. Even in 95 minutes, the wee man, Maeda, he's just, fitness is phenomenal. Even though he might have the best of game, I know I might say, to beat Celtic, JP, you've got to have some sort of technical ability, right? He maybe not technically gifted, your Jota is your pal.
Showed you how technically gifted he was against St Mirren.
I know, right? But in terms of overall, he's maybe the least out the bottom, right? But what he gives you outside that, they've no got. So Maeda's no got the pressing ability that Palmer's got. He's no got the pressing ability that Young's maybe no got, or Forrest or Johnson. And that's why he's playing as well, because he's got that outside his ability on the ball. So, and especially European football, JP, or the last 10 minutes of games are struggling. It's an absolute godsend when you've got a guy like that can take the ball into the channel. And I think sometimes he's maybe myself, I don't give him enough praise in terms of his technical ability, but after the ball, it's a godsend when you're trying to win games of football, mate.
He's in the team before. He's in the team before Abada or Palmer. He gives you something that they don't. He gives you that energy, that chasing down. I think he's one of the first names in the team sheet, and he's no great technical. You see him in the Rangers game as well. His first touch was a bit questionable at times. That's a nice way of saying it, but he still gives you that energy, and he still put in that performance and that effort, and he gives you so much energy all over the park that I think with Ange and with Brendan, apart from Callum, he's probably the first name in the team sheet.
I would agree with that. I think I love technical players, and he's probably the least technical out of the majority of the Celtic players, but he's one of the first names in the team sheet for me as a fan. I love him. As fans, you want to see people get out there and gain their all. That's what you want as a fan, first and foremost, giving everything they've got. Because at the end of the day, fans want to be in their player's position. So you want to see that player that's playing where you would love to play, gain everything they've got. And he does it week after week, no matter he's having a 6 out of 10, 4 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10. He's 100%, 110% every single week. And for me, he's one of the first names in the team sheet. But come back to the Kyogo thing as well. I've seen Neil Lennon saying that Connor Goldson could do better for his goal. But when you look at the goal, it's elite. That is
it's brilliant.
The movement's elite movement. You can't. Goldson goes with the first movement because he thinks Matt Riley's got his head up here. Kyogo goes to go in behind, and in a split second changes direct. You can't. Connor, nobody can do in the boot top speed. You can't stop it. It's impossible to stop because if you don't go with the first movement and O'Reilly plays the ball, he's clean through in the goal. So you've got to go with the first movement, and there's no defender in this world that can change direction that quick as he done to come back and pick the ball up and get turned and face him up. It's impossible. I've seen them getting Connor Goldson a bit for that, and I don't think any defender can match that movement. It's too quick and too sharp.
Yeah, I agree with William here as well. Talk about just before we finish up with this point and the two boys, Japanese lads, Maeda and Kyogo. I think Maeda is a massive weapon for Celtic. You go back to the, William's spot on there. You go back to the actual incident where he gets sent off over in Madrid. He's closed down 3 different guys with the same sprint. So if he's sprinting at one guy, he doesn't slow down, he just repeats the sprint to the next guy. He doesn't slow down, he just repeats the sprint to the next guy. That takes humongous levels of fitness.
I think he's taking that. What would you call it? That hooch, isn't he? He's on that hooch, isn't he?
That hooch, you.
He must, see if you're a defender, he must have been like a blue bottle. Like, get to, just get away. Aye.
No, but
it's just a pest.
It's one of the ones. See, if you're a fullback, I can only imagine being a fullback up against him, and you're probably standing beside him, going, "God, you're standing there now. Just he's a breather now, man. Just he's a breather now." Even the boy, I read a wee bit in the article. The boy Owen Beck played against him for Dundee, and I know Maeda probably didn't do, as well as we probably expected him to do that day. But his running ability was unbelievable. And that boy Beck says, "Oh my God, man," he says, "it doesn't stop." He says, "1 minute he's there, next minute he's away there." He says, "And you've got to go with him." He says, "So sometimes you're waiting in your second one to get near him." And I mean, like say James Tavernier, he puts the fear of God in him. Absolute fear of God in him. And that's for watching him across the other side of the park. So you look at Balogun. And by the way, that's not the first time Balogun's done that to him. Balogun done that to him, but he wasn't the last man. And it was a 3-0 game in February. And it was down the wing. Celtic didn't get a foul that night for it.
Yep.
But it was the exact same thing down near the corner. The wee man took him on, beat him for speed. And, as I say, But getting back to Kyogo, Baz, you're spot on, mate. Lenny, I don't know what Lenny was smoking when he was giving it. Connor Goldson could have done better. The only thing Connor Goldson could have done better was just stand still. Because that was what the wee man had him doing was a lot worse. If he just stood still when he looked off as stupid as what he did.
I say
He's went to get that ball, as Baz says there, right? Kyogo's dropped that shooter. So Goldson right away, he's already gone because his momentum's took him. And there, thinking that the wee man's going to be there, and then he's turned and went, "Oh no." But Baz, you'll probably agree with me here. What's made that goal even better is that he's at full stretch for that. He's at full stretch for that. And by the way, he's been their best signing in the summer. So he's at full stretch for that, and he's getting neighbour. He's maybe got a fingertip on it if he's lucky. That's what's made that goal even more sweeter for me.
It's a top level goal. Everything about it. And the Rockies pass, the break the lines, Matt Riley. It's just that it's an unreal goal, and I don't think anybody can stop it because it's done that well and at that good a pace. It's a top level goal. You can't stop it no matter who you are. It could be anybody that was against. It's still happening because it's the unbelievable bits of play. So it didn't really matter who it's against. It's a top goal.
I said to you, JP, after the game, that was I was right behind that, and I said to you after it, that's up there with one of the best goals I've ever seen at Celtic Park. His movement, it was similar to, I don't want to say similar to Larson, but the movement, Connor Goldson is an experienced centre-back, right? If you rate him or you don't rate him, that's up to yourself. But the way he get done was, he was caught off his feet. The wee man was bump, tap in. And Butland, for me, I think Butland could potentially probably be better than Rangers. I think he's turned out a very good goalkeeper for them. He is a very good shot stopper, and he's been there by signing. I think without Butland, I think they'd have been a lot more points less than what they are at the moment. So that shows you how good he's been. But no, on the wee man's goal, it was. I still don't think it's getting talked about enough, JP. It was phenomenal, and again, I'll maybe say I'm privileged to have seen it, mate, because I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow. Like, I tell him he's just.
That's why we're here, mate. Don't worry about it. We'll keep talking about it.
He's just stuck that right in the tap bin pokey, man. I was like, wow, that's phenomenal. And the wee man's.
It's one of the ones I'd have loved to have seen the after effect of that, Ryan, because I'd imagine Chris Boyd was in the middle of taking a sip of his latte at that point. And when that ball hits the net, Chris Boyd does that with his hands and it goes all him.
I think now it's no latte, mate. I think he's Johnny Mean Costco getting bleached, mate. I don't think it's latte
I
he's on
think
anymore.
so,
they're just talking about.
He does have a couple of mysterious stains on his
They're talking about Alistair Johnston's clearance. That was the best clearance ever. That's what they're still.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
See, that's better than any sort of defending I ever saw Virgil do. Honest to God.
To get a goal kick for that as well. What a player he is, man. Honestly.
Superb, man. Superb. You've got to obviously clap your hands to that, haven't you? Really, you've got to.
I know. I'd be punching the air with it. Punching the air.
I've actually heard them call him the Canadian.
Slap at the base.
They've actually called him the Canadian Messi. By the way, you heard that one, no? The Canadian Messi. That's a new. I can't
count.
He was into basketball and all, wasn't he?
How many times I've seen general quality like that? I really can't. Some of the best defending, James, and assured. Not even that, Alan. It was the assurance in the defending as well. It wasn't even. He was so confident he was getting a goal kick for that. It was the way he done it. It just made it all the better.
He was so assured. It was close who was on VAR. That was it. That's how he was so assured.
But he's made Wally Collum visit the Brazen and double denim, so he's done well for himself.
I know.
Well, Wally Collum, to be fair, wee Wally wasn't alone that day. He did have some company on shift. I've got a wee photo of the boys there. There we go. The boys were on shift.
That wasn't the snip, by the way.
The boys were on shift with wee Wally that day.
Francis seen Lutton, he was going to look communion.
Big son was too busy and
Rod Stewart was wondering why Baby Jane wasn't on the line, by the way. I'll tell you.
He's too busy looking at my telly.
That wasn't in the script, man. I didn't expect that, man.
Listen, that's why I'm a gaffer, mate. I'm always prepared. I'm always prepared. Call this a Blue Peter. Call this a Blue Peter. I've got one prepared for every event. Don't worry about that. Moving on to our next point now. This one's for you, Barry, actually. This is from William. Barry Bannon, do you use any analysis on yourself as a player? Or do you think it's important to do so?
We get there's a thing called Y Scout. We get sent the games and the clips of yourself for the game, but I've never been one to watch back my games. I'll know myself if I've had a good game, and I'll know myself if I've had a bad game. I don't need them to tell me. My dad's normally the first one to tell me anyway, straight after the game. But I've not really watched games back. Maybe the historic ones like Wembley when we get promoted there, I've watched that back. But No, I love watching football as well, but it's weird. I won't watch my own games back. I watch every other game that's on in telly every night. So, but not really my own games. The only thing I will do is the night before games, I try and play the game through in my head. Just like memorising like where I'll be in the park and what I want to do, like positive things. I'll try and play the game through the night before in my head before I go to sleep. But analysis, no, not really. We do club analysis and team meetings as a team after every game, but personal analysis, no. I don't really watch my games back, to be honest.
See, in terms of analysis,
sorry, Ryan. I was just going to ask, but I was just going to actually say to him, is it something that a lot of the boys do, Baz? Is it something that's encouraged in the game?
That's something I was going to say, aye. Is that something...
So obviously then we could...
Aye. Is it something you think's big, Baz, in terms of, obviously football's moved on now. Do you think analysis in terms of different parts of the game is important? Because like you say, you know yourself when you've done maybe a poor pass or a poor game, but do you think maybe things like the new manager you've got now, there's stuff that he picks on in analysis that you might not see? Do you think sometimes it isn't important to maybe look back as a team to really pick out what you've maybe done wrong and what you can maybe do next time you play?
Well, it's completely different with different managers. This manager's more about what we want to do, and I spoke about it in the podcast last year with Ange, and having a style of play and not really caring about what other teams are going to bring to the table. It's about us being our best, and the manager that we've got now is quite similar, but we do adapt to obviously other teams if he sees certain things that he thinks he needs to tell us about, or if we press for the front in games now, so if they build up in a 3 or if they build up in a 4, we'll press differently. But we're well tuned now because we've played against back 3s and played against back 4s and back 5s, so we played enough games now to know what we're going to do when we come up against different formations. But analysis player-wise, there is certain players in the changing room that they say they'll not be analysing themselves before games. They'll be looking at who they're going to be coming up against in his clips just to see what his strengths and weaknesses are. But me being a big football fan, I know most players in the Championship, and I've played against them or I've watched them playing because I watch every game it's on telly. So I don't really need to watch clips because my football knowledge is quite good, and I'd like to think I know the majority. Well, I know every player in the Championship. Well, centre mids anyway. There won't be many that I've either no seen or no played against, so I don't really need to watch them. I kind of seen them already. But there is players who in the changing room probably don't watch football when they get home. They, for whatever reason, maybe because they're involved in it every day, they just want to get away from it and they won't watch it when they get home. So they probably don't know some of the players. I've played with players who don't know players that we're playing against. It's, for me, that's crazy, but there is players out there that you'll say, oh, this boy's good, and our player will generally know who I'm talking about. But there is people out there that don't watch football, so they'll have to watch clips before they go out to see who they're playing against, if he's quick, if he's strong, what's his strongest foot. So there is people that they do analysis on the other team, really, but me personally, I've played against loads of players and I know a lot of players, so it's all stored in my head. But the tactical analysis is massive for teams now. The game's changed so much. There's different styles of play. There's that many different styles now. Formations are changing constantly. You've got wing backs playing centre mids, so the tactical analysis for the team's massive nowadays. We have a meeting every day apart from Thursdays.
All right, okay. There's one more question, obviously, about yourself, Baz. It's from John Livingston on the YouTube. He says, as an experienced player, does the manager ask for your input, Baz?
There is times this season, the first manager, Cisco, before he got sacked, asked a fair bit, and that's probably how he got sacked. He was probably listening to me too much.
He's like, the team don't do analysis, just go on, we're going. We're all going to Nando's. We're all going to Nando's.
Because of the captain, you've got a good relationship with the manager. Not so much. It's no anything to do with who do you think I should play or anything like that. It's more so, especially foreign managers, maybe like, what is this game going to be like? What's it like going to, for instance, Blackburn, Preston away? Is it tough? Travel wise, do we need to travel? That just wee things like that. Today, we football wise, no, really. The new manager we've got is top level manager, so he'll speak to me day in, day out, but nothing to do with the tactics or just like, how are you? How's your legs? Are you all right? How's the boys? Are they up? Are they down after a defeated? Are they all right? Morale, things like that. But just to get a feeling of how the lads are, because obviously I'm in the changing room and I'm the link between him and the players, and obviously I know the players better than probably the manager does at the minute. So, but no, tactically wise and football wise, nah, they've got, they're the manager for a reason and they've got their own ideas. It'll just be to get a feeling of how the squad is.
Have you tell the gaffer about the 10:30 show, Barry?
He's a big subscriber, I heard.
Is he? Aye.
Is it?
Hey, oh, brilliant, man.
He's into his denim.
We need to get. Oh,
They get him
brilliant.
on it.
I know a guy. Hold on, I know a guy.
It's a wee,
Oh, no.
it's a wee boots for me, does it, man? The wee boots are brilliant, man. The wee green boots are
By the
fantastic.
way, he likes the boots. I know. I heard. By the way, he likes the wee boots as well.
Oh, does he? Aye.
Aye.
Not as much
Likes
as
the
the
wee boots, I
Mestos.
know.
The Mestos, aye.
No, it's not as much as that. He's not much of a bleach drinker, right enough, is he?
What type of boots is he? Is it the leopard print ones or the white ones? What type of boots is he?
You know the wee boots that go to the like run about the shin level. He's a bit like
Oh, the Sheffield.
he's got the double denims into them.
Hug boots or
The
something they
blends in.
call.
Aye,
Hug
blends.
boots.
No, the leather ones.
Oh, see,
Oh,
leather ones.
aye.
Aye.
Hey,
Conte,
You better
That's
not
the
talk
ones
about the
that's
sponsor,
the
by the
ones
way. That's just gone south.
That's the
See,
one.
I know.
That's the ones that Big Conte down was singing I Can Boogie in, wasn't it?
Aye.
Don't pay the laces up so the denim jeans can tuck into
That's no free quarter line. Pull him down.
Aye, pull him down.
Is that your dad?
Aye.
Aye, you know, man. Can't take him anywhere.
Brilliant, man.
Aye.
Brilliant.
Just hope any of your fans are watching this, boys, man. I'll be like, oh, the old manager was listening to him, not doing the team talks anymore.
No, I kind of hope so, because I may get more subs on the 10:30 show if I'm going to manage on it.
So you need to finish up soon because you're getting geared up to start.
I know.
But no, listen, lads, totally amazing. What a chat, honestly. Who would have thought we'd get through quite a lot of those points in an hour and 35 minutes?
For analysis to kinky boots.
I know exactly. I know there's.
Oh,
We'll need to get Shea Doolan on and try and get a Rebel song out of that next year.
I know.
We're going
We
to
don't do analysis, but we wear kinky boots.
Philip Bang.
Kinky boots and double denim.
Brilliant, man.
Aye.
Brilliant.
But honestly, thanks very much again for coming on and joining us, mate. It's always a privilege and a pleasure having you on with us.
No, I've enjoyed every minute. Lads, I'm glad to be back. We're winning games now as well, so I can show face a wee bit more. So.
Is that how you disappeared?
No. Listen. Been a busy man. Listen, if MD's been keeping an eye on Sheffield Wednesday,
Brilliant.
some of the football that
Really
the new manager's got, he's playing very, very good. Very good. Very good on the eye. I like the way he's playing it for the back and the way he's all starting to now believe in him and he's now starting to believe in you. And I like the camaraderie he's also got with his supporters as well.
I think that's something I've noticed, Baz. It's probably more. It is probably intense. I can't remember what game it was he's played recently, but it was. I can't remember what game it was again, but the intensity. That was the first half a few weeks ago, and the intensity. The intensity of the first half was really good, and every player was. It was actually somewhat of watching the way Celtic is. It was the intensity and the pressing, and it was really good actually. And obviously, we kind of knowing that now and kind of watching kind of different teams you played in recently, and it's probably the eye-opener of kind of what he's trying to do with you, Baz, and I must admit, it was really good to watch. And he's, like Baz says, the goalkeeper Dawson, he's playing out for the back, and is that something he's installed in? He's going to play for the back, or play it when you feel you need to play it?
So I've had managers like previously who they want to play out for the back, but they won't. They haven't showed us how to do it. This guy is
coached better.
He's. I don't want to talk him up too much in case he gets stole off us, because he's top level. He is top level. I've never seen anybody as tactically as good as him in my life. Really, playing football.
Wow.
He's only 34 as well, which is crazy.
He's young,
I think
he's been at Leipzig. I think he started at 22 or 23 at Leipzig, and then went from Leipzig to Southampton with Hasenhüttl as assistant, and then went back to Bayern with Hansi Flick, and then the German national team with Hansi Flick, and then came here. But he's incredible. So I've had people say, let's play out for the back, but no really want, as soon as it goes wrong, it's right, up you go now, let's go. But he's constant, and like if you make a mistake, it's on he say it's down to him. Like, I want you doing this. So once you've got that backing, then you'll always try it. It was new to us at the start, so there was obviously teething problems, but you can see recently that we're starting to pick up a lot better, and it's through practice day in, day out, and listening to him in the training field and his coaches, and like I say, they're top level.
Baz, he just looks as if he's got an act with some of the guys now, and like say, over the last couple of weeks, I've seen Palmer with a spring in his step again. You know, and obviously a great goal against Cardiff. Windass is getting back about it again as well, and starting to get his head back, thinking again in terms of even on the pitch where he should be, where he shouldn't be. Is he tracking a runner? Should he be tracking a runner? There's a massive change watching you the last wee while, mate, and that's all down to him. It's down to the firm belief that, and there's a familiarity now becoming with you guys, with him and him with you, and you can see that. And the rapport he's got with the supporters, mate. I'm being honest, mate. Even I don't know. I don't remember seeing that way.
I'm actually saying, Danny, though.
I know that's what it's like. I know. That's what you're doing when you watch the games.
I've been there this is my 9th season now, and obviously the first 2 years we had Carvajal, we get back-to-back playoffs, get beat at Wembley to get to the Prem, and then get beat in the semi-final to get to the Prem. So he done a really good job, Carvajal, and was loved by the fans. But this is, by the way, this year team, it's in the bottom 3. We're still in relegation zone, and the fans, I've never seen fans take to a manager in my time of being here that like they've took to him. But he's done really well since he came in. But there's it's like you're saying, players there who are looking more confident, Windasses and Palmers, like, it's because it's drilled now day in, day out, and like it's hard. Like, we do things on the training field against no opposition. Like, we'll build up from the back, and he'll want us to do certain things, and you look and you think, what's going on here? Like, is that going to work? And then you go to the game, you'll do it in the game, and it'll work, and you think, how's he pictured this against the opposition to working against opposition who are trying to close you down? It's sometimes the train, I'm still thinking to myself, like the day we done something, I was thinking, this is crazy. Like, there's players in positions where you would never think they would ever go into. Like, we've got like Windass all over the place, and you'd think he'd never ever come into that position to get the ball, but the manager wants him there, and then you do it in the game on Saturday, and you think, how's he get so much space? Like, it's crazy, mate. Honestly, I'm 34. I've had a lot of managers, and I've worked under some good managers as well. But some of the things that he does, and you watch it and train, you think, oh my God, like, this guy's crazy.
I think as well, JP, like Baz says there, I think as well, don't know if it's just for my watching the game and stuff, I know, and maybe playing yourself under managers, I think it's probably a sense of freedom as well, JP. Like Baz says, if they make a mistake, he's taking it on him because he's telling the players to do it. So when we make a mistake, all right, I'll do it again. So it's like, if you make a mistake, I think that's one reason why young guys these days are scared, and the academies and youths are scared to make mistakes because they get grilled. Oh, what you doing? You make a mistake. But like Baz says, he's telling them to do it. So I keep saying, like Craig Gordon with Celtic, with Rodgers, he hit the ball at the park and fans are moaning. But I'm like, why are you moaning? That's what he's been told to do by the manager, to get the ball wide to Forrest, Sinclair, Roberts.
That's the big thing, when fans start turning, and then that starts putting doubt in either the goalie or the guy who's trying to receive it. Do they go away for the position that they're meant to be in because they don't want it? But he's adamant just to keep doing it. And then eventually, as the weeks go past, I've seen it at Hillsborough, where at first they were like moaning. We were keeping the ball where the goalie is another centre half, and you could see them not so sure. But as results start to pick up, and then you start getting joy for the goalie playing out, then that all that murmuring and that stops. So in the last few weeks, they know that's how we're playing now, and they've seen results picking up, so they're with it now. So you need to show that you're improving by doing it, otherwise you'll never have the fans on your side. But as you show week in, week out that you're getting better and you're getting results, they start to then all buy into it now, and they know that's the way we're playing. So everybody's behind the manager, 100% confidence of the fans behind them. So whatever we do on Saturday now, the fans are behind it because they've got that much confidence in the manager now.
Brilliant, man.
Well, I can firmly say, mate, it's only a couple of weeks to get down to seas and live with this new manager. And so far, myself and Ryan's record at Hillsborough is undefeated. So we're hoping to keep it. We're hoping to keep it that way in a couple of weeks' time. But I'm going to end it there, folks, because I think we've took enough time for everybody. It's getting a bit late on at night for everybody as well. And it's, like I've said, Baz, always a privilege. Aye, totally. Wealth of knowledge, mate. Great having your opinions, your views and everything on me. Kind of breaks up that wee bit of me as well, having to listen to Alan's patter all the time as well, but you know what I mean? So it's kind of one of the...
That's Shane Duffy, Paddy McCourt, Joe Ledley. I can make a five-a-side team with who I look like now.
But Barry, we see me fair.
To be fair.
The amount of slips you've got, you can make a full team.
It's Joe Ledley right out. How do I look Joe Ledley?
See when you put your washing line out, I bet the guy across your back thinks you're the Lisbon Lines. He puts a wash out on a Saturday and the guys are like, there's Celtic reserves down there warming up. What's going on?
I've only got 80. I've only got 80 selling taps.
Here's Rob. He was in talks with Bologna.
Oh, brilliant.
No, lads, listen, all good fun. For everybody that's tuned in tonight, I want to thank everybody humongously. Thank you for tuning in to us. Thanks for all the questions, folks, and everybody that's tuned in. And sorry I couldn't get everybody's comments up. It's quite hard to do that. And there's 4 of us here and we're all having a chat. A good chat at that as well. And it's been a good laugh. Lads, it's been emotional. See you all again. We'll be back, guys, on Sunday to annoy you some more with a nice wee surprise for you on Sunday. So stay tuned. There will be an announcement just over the next coming days of what's going to be happening on Sunday. But until then, folks, a massive hail from myself.
Hail.
And we will see you all later.
See you later,
Cheers, guys.
See you later.